We've known pretty much from ball one of the first test how this series was going to go. Really? Haven't we? There was nothing more summarising of this last month's cricket. A month that has felt like a lifetime of... There was nothing more summarising than the last session on day 3. Let's get this over with. On with the show. Hello, it's me, Peter, and today I'm talking to you about cricket. Specifically, I'm talking to you about the 5th and final Ashes test between Australia and England. It took place in Hobart, originally penciled in at Perth, but fair play to Cricket Australia and the ECB for managing to get the game on. Not that many of the England players would have played it, or the England fans would have watched it if there was a choice still at this stage. Once again, after just 3 days of play, England have been humiliated. A total capitulation in the last session of the game saw England lose 10 wickets for just 56 runs and fall to a 146 run defeat. I joked that England only take 3 days to fall apart in my last video for this game, previewing it, but I had no idea how close I'd actually be. Although, well, I suppose Melbourne's day 3 lasted just over an hour. I still don't know what's worse, Hobart or Melbourne. Let's get into the game chat and maybe I can answer that question at the end. So England won the toss and elected to field, and this seemed like the perfect choice with the amount of green on the top of the pitch and conditions overhead. And sure enough, England got the ball talking at last this series. Ollie Robinson and Stuart Broad were particularly unplayable, and very soon Australia found themselves at 12 for 3. The fight back soon came though from Labuschagne, and another superb century from player of the match, come player of the series, Travis Head. The run rate hovered around the 4 and over mark, and Head played some glorious drives through the covers. Seriously, they were missiles towards the boundary. They were so well timed. That hot spot on the middle of his bat was there almost every time. Although when Labuschagne fell to a quite frankly bizarre delivery, bowled round his legs and getting into what can only be described as quite a tangle, Cameron Green continued the counter-attack. He made 74 before Australia found themselves at 236 for 6. England's bowlers have been by far the standout of the series for the tourists. Wood hasn't stopped, Broad has proved his value, Ollie Robinson has had his moments, and Jimmy is just, well, Jimmy. It would have been so much worse without those England bowlers, and I want to make a very big point of saying that before I say this. There is no way Australia should have been able to get 300 plus runs in that first innings. No way. Nathan Lyons scored 31 runs from a number 10. It's pretty poor. Whether it's the captaincy or the bowling, it didn't help that Ollie Robinson trudged off injured after effectively 1 after over lunch. He's got to sort out his fitness if he wants to maintain his place in this team. But anyway, this is something that has been plaguing England all year, not being able to get the tail out. Think about Bumrah and Shami in that game at Lord's that England eventually lost. If we had killed the game off in the first innings, we might, and I stretch the term might, have had less of a daunting chase, and at the end of the game, this may have impacted the way we batted. I'm clutching at straws here, but I think the 300 point is still valid. Anyway, Australia made 303 and England went out to bat early on day 2. And oh wait, Burns is out for a duck again. It's good to know that his 2021 and 2022 are basically taking after one another from the same place. There were brief moments of resistance. Root and Milan once again built a partnership of sorts, almost making 50. Wopes and Billings sort of came towards a partnership at the end. But we were bowled out for under 200 once again, within a day. Australia started the day batting and ended the day batting. That's not good. I say not good because actually the bowling at the end of the day was quite good. No, scratch that. It was bloody brilliant considering the batsmen had given the bowlers, the English bowlers, literally no rest at all whatsoever. To go out and get Warner for a pair, previous Centurion from Sydney, Khawaja, out for 11, and the best batsman in the world, minus Labuschagne, for 5, despite having just about a session's worth of rest, is testament to the workload the England bowlers are having to put up with, game upon game. We come to day 3, the last day of the pathetic excuse of a contest and the last day of the tourists' miserable Ashes campaign. This didn't start off miserable though, and a faint, tiniest, minutest glimmer of hope sprung forth as England managed to scuttle Australia. I know, hear those words again. England managed to scuttle Australia. It was mostly thanks to the heroic bowling of Mark Wood. Fast, ferocious, deadly accurate, the 6 for 37 was just desserts for what has been a tour that Wood can probably look back on with some at least personal pleasure. Although maybe give it a few years to reminisce on that one, eh? Australia were all out for just 155, with only Alex Carey getting above 30 when he made his 49. And what a lucky 49 it was, by the way. The tightest of tight no balls, basically a toenail's worth of distance for Chris Woakes over the line, and the tightest of tight outside leg calls, basically a seam's worth of distance, saved him from getting called out twice. Stuart Broad, the unlucky second bowler that didn't get him. If he does the lottery, Alex Carey, he needs 49 to be in those numbers somewhere next time he does it. Australia set England a target of 271 runs to win. Tough on a pitch that was producing genuine movement for pacers, but with 2 full days left after this one, not impossible. Well, not impossible for a team that can actually bat. And as for the final effort of this series sowed, England can't really bat. I hate saying blanket comments like, he can't bat, because I can't bat either. I'm rubbish. Although equally, my job in the real world is to teach, and I'm acceptably pretty good at that. Theirs is to bat. And, well, Burns and Crawley offered the most resistance with an actually nice partnership of 68, before Burns chopped on and Crawley chased an edge. Oh, and in the meantime of that, Milan also chopped on. The brutal hit on the head from Cameron Green definitely shook him. He just looked remarkably uncomfortable after that blow. Ben Stokes, the man from Headingley, got out in the most ridiculous fashion, swiping at a pull shot that just wasn't needed. Root got a ball that effectively didn't bounce and rolled onto his stumps, and Billings seemed to get a ball that died in the pitch. Or it was a rubbish shot. He drove 500 miles for this game, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say the ball died on him. Pope went on a wander down the offside and was unsurprisingly bowled round his legs. It's not the job of the bowlers to get the runs, so I don't blame them for having a swing once this has all happened, but I did enjoy the commentary on the BBC that suggested there was a contest on which bowler could get out in the most ridiculous fashion. Woakes slashed at one that pinged up and was well taken by Alex Carey behind him. Wood somehow played a hook onto his own middle stump, and Ollie Robinson essentially invited Cummins to remove his stumps from the ground, which he did. And Australia won. 10 wickets in a session, 4-0. The result, disaster. Was this worse than Melbourne for England? Yeah, I think it was. Forget the fact that we lost the Ashes in Melbourne. Forget all that had happened before that. I think this was worse for the nature of the god-awful shots that England got out on in that second innings. For the fact that we had already collapsed before at Melbourne for just 60 odd. Surely someone in the batting order, those people that have been there, done that, can think, this is my job to stop the rot, stop the collapse. This is over my dead body. Are we collapsing again? I don't care if we lose, but we are not collapsing again. It's not there. It's not there. I think it's worse for how well the bowlers did as well. The bowlers kept us in the game despite England not being able to bat out an entire day, barely a session. The bowlers somehow gave us a chance on that third day. We were useless, rubbish, humiliated again. Australia were good, but they weren't that good. We bowled them out twice. Well, we essentially wrapped the win in a gift box and said to Australia, have it. Things will change, or at least you hope things will change going into the next test cycle of this 2022 year. England managed to win one game of test cricket after February 2021 and had arguably the most chances to win games compared to any other test playing nation. We played a lot of cricket this year. There was meant to be a balance, or there should be a balance between white and red ball cricket. We've won a World Cup. That's great. We came close to winning a second this year, or last year in the 2021 T20 World Cup, and we could win it this year when somehow there's another T20 World Cup to come. But this balance, or this lack of balance, is coming at an expense. Morgan, very obviously, has been given everything he needs and wants, and Root is having to collect players around IPL contracts, odd rest and rotation policies, and World Cup commitments. The England Test team is thinking far too far into the future and not thinking about the best team that can beat the team that we are playing at that time. How Root has been expected to compete is actually, now thinking about it, beyond me. Look at the difference between the essentially A-team squad that we took to the T20 series in India and the abysmally handed squad that played the tests beforehand. People disappearing halfway through the series, after winning games, people coming back in despite having injuries and lack of game time. It's so obvious there's a difference between our white and our red ball cricket. And as for this most prepared touring team, come on, are you for real? We didn't play any proper warm-ups, and we clearly didn't schedule enough proper warm-ups when rain affected the ones that we had. And we sent home the only players, the England Lyons squad, that had actually had a chance to acclimatise, and didn't allow anyone in the squad to play in that England Lions game to give themselves some chance to acclimatise too. I mean, this most prepared touring side, this most prepared touring team started the Brisbane game. Forget about what happened with Broad and Anderson. We started that Brisbane game with an attack, a bowling attack that had never played together. Take that for a while and sit on it. Whose fault is this? Giles? Root? Silverwood? A combination? I can't see all three in their jobs come the West Indies tour, or certainly come this time next year. Root wants to carry on as captain, and as there really isn't another candidate, I guess he stays. Silverwood has got some of the selections horribly wrong this year, and Giles' call to abandon Ed Smith as chief selector is proving to have been an absolutely shocking decision. Whoever is dumped with the blame for what has gone on, it is certain that the new incumbent seriously rethinks the way test players are being matured for the big arena of 5-day matches. The 100 is great. The blast is important for income. However, the county championship in England is essentially been relegated to the sidelines of our summer season. How on earth do you expect Jack Leach or Dom Bess to bowl decent spin when they play most of their first class games in seamer friendly conditions on green pitches, and then for that matter don't even get into the first 11? Same goes for the batsmen who are expected to be able to bat time but can't learn how to do it because their number is always around the corner because of dobblers going at 70 miles an hour that nip both ways and find their edges. It's There is so much to discuss, so much fallout from this messy tour, and I was hoping to get a bit more of a series review video to discuss all this and more. But it may have to wait, as England are somehow in action again this weekend. The first of 3 T20s and one-dayers. It's a completely new set of players and coaches, mind, and in the Caribbean against the West Indies. It's actually crept up on me a little. Thankfully though, we don't have to watch any more Test cricket until March. You can all stop panicking now. Although I'm not sure I'm ready for this new series. The one just gone, this Ashes series has left me completely beaten and a little bit phased by English cricket. I can't imagine, if I'm feeling this way, I can't imagine what it's done to the ECB or to any of those players that have been involved in this 4-0 catastrophe. Still, sure enough, I'll be watching the new boys out in the Caribbean. I'll be reviewing, and hey, maybe even commenting on some good stuff. The English wins. That would be nice, wouldn't it? We're actually quite good at the white ball stuff if I seem to remember. Anyway, that's going to be all from me today. Like I said, I'll try and get some sort of overall review out for the Ashes series, and maybe even do a player review for the Aussies and for the English. Maybe the passing of time will cast better judgment on the English performances. Actually, no, man, it's definitely only going to make them worse, isn't it? But anyway, thank you for sticking around for this podcast and with this channel over the slog that really has been this last month. If you're on Spotify right now, then go and check out my YouTube video, and if you're on YouTube, go and check out my Spotify channel. Like, comment, subscribe and share, you know the deal. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your support over the last month. Until next time, sports fans, bye!